my schoolyard home, two-wheel bike, you rolling papers on the front night. Ring with the beat, get high as a kite, four-legs left way out of my sight. That's not to say you everything you ever want. Hear me out, take your time, watch the setting sun. Take your hands out of your pocket, feel water run. Don't worry about words that he said, still echoing in my head. Don't sell your soul, money sent, is nothing really dead. We are not the same, love's boundaries. You swallow in my heart, keep me there. I look beautiful light, look straight into your eye. Make sure they know they're in the lie, that you never let go till the day that you do. I Honey, get the kids in the car now. Put the cash in the trunk, get the keys, let's go. Get the biggest bank in Chicago. What it happens, you know. Remember the thing that I told you 3 years, 2 months ago. Drums are right behind you. Children will die if you don't hit it. You don't understand. You don't understand. You're here. Travel away. And I'll meet you. Kids in the back of the cab. She said, come here and kiss your wife. And I know you're real mad at me. You're on your way some kind of life. Then John and Mary promised me to treat your mother nice. Your voice whiskey by the river, living out of the sea. 100 miles an hour in the fast. 100 miles an hour tonight. See the curve in that river's bed. Now look at you when I see my friend. 100 miles an hour in the fast lane. 100 miles an hour to the end. My heart just beats like a Cherokee drum. And in the morning when the sun does come, 100 miles an hour in the fast lane. 100 miles an hour in the fast lane. 100 miles an hour. Old man River, what you doing now? Oh, you know it ain't gonna help. Old man River got his hands in the mud. He's a good boy in the wishing well. Now, old lady wind, oh what a sight. Hold me close on the winter night. Old lady wind, a vision of great height. I drink coffee, watch the sunrise. Up on a Christmas tree. Not so lonely on those cold nights. Now that's holding me.
Welcome, everyone. If there is a free seat next to you, please move towards the middle. We're trying to fit as many people in here as we can.
Old man River got his hands in the mud. Looking for gold in the wishing well. been saying all my life, just to disappear. Can I hold you tonight? We can't go on living life hiding behind fear. And all the thoughts in my fucked up head are finally coming clear. Can I hold you? Can I hold you tonight? You can see the world. You can see the world. You can see the world. place I left. Rolling the dice on the weekend. Conversation with a couple of kids. Smoking cigarettes on the school with my best friend. Never will forget taking that with me till the end. Football and tall trees, the autumn never ends. Summer loving. Ohio, treat me well. Ohio, treat me well. Some things you can't forget, like your first kiss. Under the bleachers in the 7th grade. Damn the miss. All these memories, shooting shivers down my spine. Make me the melody, play me up and I'll play mine. Wow, treat me well, yeah. Wow, treat me well. When I grow up, when I look back, singing Mrs. Robinson, train tracks, drinking out of bottles with stray cats. I had a grip that separated. Older than I was yesterday, my shoulders learned to carry all this weight more. Won't you come my way? Oh, it's all a show. Pretend like we know what we're doing. Oh, it's the blood in our veins, writing your name and I keep going. And I keep going. City's telling me that I've been looking shady, getting too much cocaine risky. I guess I drink myself to death. Oh, it's all a show. Pretend like we know what we're doing. Oh, it's the blood in our veins, writing your name and I keep going. case the chef is gonna sit some rubber line on top of left leg above one. And I know you love the women with the skin in the sun, but you're scared of the dark. I don't care where you're from. Yeah, you're scared of the dark. I don't care where you're from. And it's okay, Joe. It's been a long day, and it's not your fault. Some of this work just ain't gonna get done. Hey Joe, it's picture perfect and it's space round dots upon your curves on the floor. Now when I know you don't deserve to be let down, gotta stay out of the dark, but you don't know how. Gotta stay out of the dark, but you don't know how. And it's okay, Joe. It's been a long day, and it's not your fault. Some of this work just ain't gonna get done. And it's okay, Joe. It's been a long day, and it's not your fault. Some of this work just ain't gonna get done. Hey Joe, I got one more question. How does it feel to speak that love into a microphone? Hey Joe, I got one more question. How does it feel to speak that love into a microphone? Hey Joe, hey Joe, hey Joe, hey Joe, hey Joe, oh yeah, hey Joe. Going to the country, get a little lonely in my mind, feeling kind of funky. Need to find peace among the pines. No, I'm not a junkie, but I get high from time to time. No, I'm not a junkie, but I get high and bide my time. Oh, I get high and bide my time. Going to the country, pull my head down off the shelf. Need a little something that I can hold on to myself. Hear a little thunder, I guess it's time we bid farewell. Hear a little thunder, chasing like a dog, I think I will. Chasing like a dog, I think I will. And it's clear that you can't see. You run sometimes. And it's clear that you can't see. You run sometimes.
Thank you for coming. We're going to start off singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So Debbie Franciose here is going to play a little bit of it, and then we're going to have everybody stand up and sing along with us. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in on that.
Welcome, everyone. On behalf of the Noy and the Franciose family, I'm standing here to just welcome you. And, I look in the brochure back here and, seeing, what a footprint that Emily did leave. We're all grieving in our own way this most untimely death because, at least speaking for me and for so many of you, Emily touched us with her just kindness and the energy and the positive vibes that she had every day. The past 2 evenings, I had the great pleasure of spending time at Sue's house with, over 40 family, and, I don't know, Sue, probably over 100 guests from out of town, as well as people within the thing, and many of them travel far and large just to honor Emily and give support to Reg and Sue. But one of the things that really stood out to me was the opportunity to have a conversation with Grandma Barb. And, she sat and told me stories about what it was like with Emily and sitting on a rooftop eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and maybe chasing a few fireflies and even catching a couple tadpoles. And, that was an absolute, big joy for me. Grandma Bob, would you please stand up? And then the very large, very unique, and very diverse family of both Sue and Reg are really remarkable people. And could you all stand up? Sue and Reg, as you look upon these people, just think about how much everyone loves you, loved Emily, and how much support that you're going to have. Please be seated. Emily was clearly a product of two very extraordinarily different people, but people that shared so much in common. The two of them were parents in very, very different ways, but they were more alike than only their closest friends can really know. Overtly, they were quite different, but as you know, their soul, their compassion, their love, and their spirit, they're very much alike. They're both exceptionally intelligent, extraordinarily compassionate, selfless in serving others, and clearly pillars within this community. Sue and Reg taught Emily and encouraged her to be a free spirit, pursue the life of adventure, the commitment to service, and to live life her own way. I had the great pleasure to be part of Emily's life from birth, spending many holidays together and just enjoying a lot of great times. And the one thing that I know for sure is it was always very, very evident how much she loved her parents. They were great parents, are great parents, and wonderful people. She watched Sue build the charge. Dr. Eck is with us here to build the Jack's Place to serve cancer patients. She also was the one that he initiated Hike, Wine, and Dine, where lots of money was raised to continue what's being done at Jack's Place for cancer patients. Plus, for those of you that are in the audience that are from the mountain school, you know what a great volunteer that she was, because I know that there was very often that she was asking me for skis, for furniture, and for all the like so that they could raise money. We got to laugh, okay? This is hard. They nurtured her in a way that created just a compassionate soul, not having a mean bone in her body, being a person that had empathy and always befriended, cared for, and nurtured the underdog. She had the desire, quite different than her father, to be a straight-A student. She followed in her mother's footsteps, who was magna cum laude in everything she ever did. They're both intelligent, just in different ways. In this time of sadness and grief, we honor two exceptional human beings that were wonderful parents, wonderful human beings, and really pillars within our community. Reg and Sue became parents very late in life, very different than a lot of her classmates here and their parents. And I can remember many, many times where we would be sitting around a bunch of old adults, talking about faith, talking about politics, talking about life, talking about adventure. And Emily would just sit there and suck everything in. I mean, she just did it. And, I think that that's what contributed to her being an old soul, wise beyond her years, a free and deep thinker. And she was just so wise. I mean, she was really an old soul in a teenager's body. And so many great occasions. I could share a lot of stories with you about Emily. It could be, teaching her to sell, actually teaching her to drive a stick shift, being on the mountain as a little girl with pizza and French fries, learning how to ski, and all of those types of things. But I think that's for others of you to do. What I really want to do is just express my love, my respect, my admiration, and my deep grief for Sue and for you, Reg. Thank you very much.
Hello. Emily attended VMS since kindergarten, and in her time here, she made connections with so many teachers. We're honored to share some of our memories and our stories with you today. My name is Ross Sappenfield, and I'm a science teacher at VMS. In upper school science, Emily pushed herself to take a challenging path. I was her accelerated biology and chemistry teacher in 10th grade, and her AP biology teacher in 11th grade. And I have a quick story to share that I will never forget. It's called the mug story. During COVID-era chemistry, Emily was paired with Annika in a lab designed to extract copper from copper sulfate using iron. The goal was to get the highest percent yield possible, 100%. 2 days of work and careful calculations later, Emily determined that she and Annika had obtained a 7% yield. After a bit more scrutiny over the calculations, the number actually turned out to be 0.7% yield. Yes, less than 1% success. In true Emily style, she laughed herself silly over this failure and even took it a step or two farther. She asked if I would take a picture of the team using her camera to capture this epic fail. A few weeks later, Emily presented me with this mug, as seen here, to commemorate this moment. To make it even more memorable, as she presented me with the mug, she noticed that she spelled the word yes, yield wrong, which resulted in lots of belly laughs. This story exemplifies one of countless times Emily modeled how to be courageous and open by sharing, even embracing failures with the people close to her. I learned from Emily to find the humor in my errors, and I'm forever grateful for that gift. She's left me that gift, and this gift as well, which I'm passing on to Sue and Reg to remember this story that embodies Emily so well.
Hi, I'm Lori Mortensen. I was Emily's English teacher and 10th grade home-based teacher. So as many of you know, I try to match the personality of the kids in my 10th grade home base to the font I put on their cubby name tags. And, Tony, can you, oh yeah, I know it is there. So at the top, you'll see that what I picked for Emily. And the thing is, I waste like hours and hours and hours of time running around asking 9th grade teachers, like, well, who was this kid and what is their personality and what font do you think I should put on their name tag? And I didn't need to ask anybody. I knew exactly what font Emily's name tag was going to have. She was curls all the way. For the entirety of her sophomore year, Emily was a better home-based teacher than I was. She bounced in with a smile, a happy good morning, an unending supply of topics that she could talk about with anyone for any amount of time. And she brought in a llama piñata, named it Alfred, and hung it on my ceiling, where it has remained since her sophomore year. I looked at it often when she was in Switzerland this year, and it made me smile and think of her. Alfred is colorful, sassy, and has a look in his eye that tells you that he is one stabilizing string away from jumping out of my room and off on some crazy adventure, just like Emily herself. As sophomore year came to a close, I asked Emily to take my AP Lit class. She told me that she didn't like to read, and clearly she can't spell. So she said no. The next day, she enthusiastically said yes. Then she said no. Then she said yes. And that went on for quite some time until she emailed me over the summer and went with a no. Totally fine. And then school started, and she changed her mind for the final time. She put so much effort into this class. She met with me, she revised, she put aside her sense of humor for just a little bit, and found that the depth of thought she was capable of was also fun, was also fulfilling, was also who she was. I am so glad that I was able to see all of Emily, the crazy llama side, the curls side, and the AP English side. Thank you.
Great. Hello, hola. I am Senor Gordon, and I'm a Spanish teacher here at VMS. And we're looking at a photo of Emily walking to her Spanish class while she was on her 9th grade trip to Costa Rica. One of the beauties of Emily was that she could speak so many different languages. She was comfortable talking to lower schoolers, as she would often help the young ones with their ski equipment on a school ski day, or assist a kindergartner during a hectic bake sale to find just the right sweet treat. She was also fluent in middle school, as she would often take Drew or Molly off on a drive for sweet treats at McDonald's or Safeway. One day, a few years back, I saw her in Riverwalk with a group of skateboarders from another school, speaking their lingo quite fluently. She was dressed the part and fit in perfectly as she skated by saying, "Hola, senor." And finally, back here at VMS, Emily conversed quite articulately in English, science, Spanish, and calculus. She was equally at ease with a table of her peers or one-on-one with any of her teachers, talking hockey, skiing, or the latest video on TikTok. She'd often come by to my room, plopped herself down, and talk about the state of the world. But then Emily always made some joke about my age, which is true, which would lead me to comment about her fashion choices. It was always give and take, and we both laughed a lot together. Emily, your unfortunate departure has left us without words to express our grief. You will always be with us in spirit, and your memories will live on with us forever. Hasta siempre, Emily.
Hello, I'm Liana Sadelli,
I'm Gabe Starr.
and we both had the privilege of beginning our journey as teachers at Vail Mountain School 13 years ago, the same year that Emily began kindergarten here, her signature brown bangs bouncing over her eyes as she made her presence known in the hallways. As we watched her grow up in this building, Emily traded what we would assume was Sue's style for her own unique fashion statements. If you ever wanted to know about the latest adolescent trends, you could just take one look at Emily. Whether it was her brightly colored pit vipers, her metal rings that covered every finger, or her classic middle school bandana look, she surely set the standard for cool in the building. In addition to her signature style and the curious learner that she was in the classroom, she was also a committed community member. You always saw Emily's beaming, braces-laden smile on the sidelines of sporting events. She supported her peers on the field and on the court, and most poignantly for us, in the mountains. She helped lead lower schoolers on hut trips and was a most enthusiastic member of the Telly team. One of the hallmarks of being a student at Vail Mountain School is the opportunity to challenge oneself and also gain empathy, build character, and practice leadership skills through the Hut Trip program. After going on multiple Hut trips with her classmates, when Emily entered the upper school, she became an eager trip leader and role model for younger students as they took their formative trips. While surrounded by our incredible mountain environment, Emily had a stage for showcasing her natural leadership skills. Not only did she bring out the best in others while on the trail, her energy was contagious, and her passion for being outside rubbed off on each student, making their first Hut trips that much more enjoyable in her presence. Emily joined the telemark team her sophomore year. While she had a rough start with a season-ending knee injury, it should be noted she was not on teleskis when this happened. She made it clear that getting back on teleskis was a huge motivation for her in her recovery. Daily in the hallways at school, she would update us on her progress towards that goal.
That brings us to the next season, back on snow with the team. Emily was our #1 cheerleader. To quote the telly team, she frothed with stoke. At our competition on Wolf Creek, she spent the whole time supporting her teammates as they competed. While we were initially concerned that Emily might get bored in this role, in hindsight, it's quite possible that she enjoyed her role as the team caretaker even more than she might have as a competitor. A true testament to how much she cared about the well-being of others. 2 full days in her pink hoodie, crazy artsy nails, under the beating spring sun, Emily craned her neck, cheered, laughed, and made sure everyone had enough Peachios to stay fueled through the competition. She shined in this role. Once Emily shared her excitement about spending her senior year in Switzerland, she just kept telling me how she was going to bring her telegear with her and could not wait for winter and to share her love of the sport with her new community. We've heard that she did just that and has left a similar lasting legacy on her community in Switzerland. We know there are people in attendance today that she skied, explored, and shared her deep, deep love of being in the mountains with. This past school year, a number of students from Emily's class read a book called The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. It just happened that we read this particular passage at the end of March, and it resonated with me and many of Emily's classmates. And while I'm paraphrasing, you will undoubtedly get the connection. Krishnamurti, a spiritual leader in India who died in 1986, once said that in the death of a friend or a loved one, a part of you dies and goes with them. Wherever they go, you also go. They will not be alone. It is so clear from the love, support, and sheer numbers in this building, Emily is not alone. Next time you are in our beautiful backyard or any other natural setting, it's our hope that you'll feel Emily's presence and stoke for the mountains and smile just a little bit bigger.
To Sue and Reg and Emily's family, please know that it's students like Emily that are the reason we teachers come to work every day. We will always remember her spirit and will continue to teach students in hopes that they all grow up to be at least a little bit like Emily.
Hi everyone, my name is Ben Orlinsky, and I only moved to Vail 2 years ago as I started high school and quickly became close with Emily. Because of this, I'm unable to speak about her in the broader context of her whole life, which I sadly wasn't able to be a part of. Rather, what I would like to do is talk about how she was able to touch my life in our short but spectacular time together, and let that speak to the incredible kind of person Emily was. When I first moved to Vail, finding my footing in a new setting was a little rocky, but Emily helped me find my place. I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for Emily. With her support, I stepped out of my comfort zone as she helped me learn to challenge myself and be open to new experiences. I am so much better off because I had the opportunity to meet her, because during that short time is when I feel I've grown the most as a person. Emily pushed me to discover more about myself in the last 2 years than I ever had. She nudged me to join the telemark team, and I am now a full-time telemarker. She encouraged me to travel on school trips instead of just staying in Colorado, and I'm now eager to see the world. Because of Emily, I've learned to face the unknown in an entirely different way, embracing it fully. Luckily enough, I moved right down the road from Emily, and I will never forget the pleasure of waking up every morning to the offer of incredibly stale rice cakes and peanut butter as she picked me and her friend Jordan up for school, and we sped off in her car named Shelly the Shitbox. Us three made the carpool dream team, spending each morning singing and laughing, all while single-handedly saving the environment, one carpool ride at a time. In those car rides, Emily showed me that friendships should be easy and life wasn't to be taken so seriously all the time. Emily, with a little help from Shelly, took me everywhere she went like we were attached at the hip. Whether school plays, Rocky Taco dinners, movie nights, school every single day, or other shenanigans Emily got up to, she took me there. I was welcomed into her already very well-established life in a way that few, if any, other people are willing to do. That is, to me, the true definition of a good person and friend. Emily wasn't closed off to meeting new people, even though she already had so many friends, but rather excited by the opportunity to get to know a new face. Well, at first, I'm sure Emily's friends thought to themselves, who's this freshman boy and why the heck is he hanging out with us? I now have an incredibly supportive community of friends, all thanks to her and whatever it was she saw in me. The memory of Emily's warm, giggly greeting and the sound of Shelly's rumble outside my front door each morning are permanently engraved in my heart and pop up in my brain every time I'm out with friends, because I know I'm there because of her. It's hard not to feel robbed of more time with Emily. I often feel like she brought true friendship into my life just to be taken away so suddenly. But I realize now, no matter how much time someone had with her, she made an immense impact. Emily had the power to help us find the best in ourselves almost overnight. And she still has that power now. If we look for her, I think we'll find that Emily is with us in everything that we do, still helping us find ourselves and teaching us how to be good people. Emily, you will forever be a role model of an incredible friend, daughter, teacher, student, and bright light. You will always be in the hearts and of my heart and the hearts of so many others. Thank you for every moment. I reckon that you made them all spectacular. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Henry Prince. I've kind of written this speech in a way like a letter to Emily. Dear Emily, you're one of my best friends. But you already knew that, didn't you? What you probably didn't know, however, was that all those nights I'd randomly call you out of the blue, or times I'd ask to hang out, or times where I had really tough days. Now, you probably thought I was just bored every time this happened, but instead it was because hanging or talking out with you really brightened up my day every single time without fail. Your laugh and smile are so contagious. I miss being able to call you, staying on FaceTime for hours on end. I miss being able to hang out with you and do the most random things. I miss floating down the river with you while we laugh uncontrollably at some inside joke. I miss removing security tags off prom dresses by burning them off. I miss walking into Walmart dressed in hazmat suits, getting weird looks from everyone inside, but not caring one bit. I miss stargazing from the top of water towers. I miss lying on the dock by the lake, getting absolutely toasted by the sun, and both of us turning into lobsters. I miss all of our adventures. I miss you. No one could bring people together like you could. You brought some of the most random people together, sometimes people who hated each other. And somehow, with whatever magic and witchcraft you performed, we would have the greatest of times. Enemies would become friends. Two groups who couldn't stand each other before were now sitting on the same couch, laughing uncontrollably at some stupid joke. It was pure magic. You had the ability to become friends with almost anyone instantly. This, too, was nothing short of magic in itself. Watching you walk up to some random person, crack a joke, and all of a sudden become close friends with them was amazing. I will never quite understand how you did this. You kept things real with me. Really real. You would tell me when my ego was too big or my joke was not kosher. You kept me honest. You called me out when you knew I was lying. You pushed me to be a better person, to do better, to be better. You made me a better person. Thank you for all of our adventures, for all the smiles and laughs, for all the inside jokes, for all the daily fit checks, for every life update, for making me a better person. Thank you for everything and more. I miss you, Emily.
Hi, my name is Bear Woods. I didn't have the pleasure of knowing Emily for as long as many of you have, but she was very quickly added as a member of my family and close circle of friends. We would often joke about how we could never pinpoint the exact way in which we became friends. But to me, it doesn't matter, but I'm really, really glad that we did. Very early in our friendship, we gave each other bird names, as, normal teenage girls do. And we got them engraved on dog tags at the self-serve kiosk in Walmart. Again, as normal teenage girls do. She was Brig, and I was Bartholomew. We had many of these unique moments, and I wouldn't trade them for the world. She was such a bright light and never failed to put a smile on my face. She was a friend I could count on, and a friend I considered more as family. She even took the place of my older brother on a family trip to Hawaii, and she fit in perfectly. She had no issue at poking fun of my dad for his sun socks, or swimming around in semi-broken snorkel gear, knee brace, and all. I remember the day that she told me about the school in Switzerland. She called me up and mentioned that she wanted to go to school abroad for a year. I told her that it was probably going to be an awesome experience, but I also figured this was probably one of her many temporary fixations. A few weeks later, she told me that she had applied and had a meeting with a representative in a few days. I knew she struggled with the social scene of the Valley and she wanted out, but I never thought it would be so far. I worried a little bit about her moving when the time came, but after many FaceTime calls and Instagram DM exchanges, I could tell that she was doing what she loved most, and she was surrounded by people who encouraged her to break through her Vail Valley shell. And I have to admit, I was a little bit jealous of her yoga and folk dancing classes. She called me out of the blue one time to tell me of a tour that she had just finished. She was rappelling off of cliffs for the first time, and she had flipped upside down from the weight of her backpack. I had never seen a bigger smile on her face. And while I still feel a sense of confusion by her sudden passing, I find some peace in knowing that she was doing what she truly loved to do. She lived an incredible life despite her time, and I hope we all choose to embrace her adventurous spirit and contagious laughter as we continue ours. Miss you, Emily.
Morning. This is okay. Okay. Good morning. My name is Tracy, and I am Reg's youngest sister. and Emily's aunt. Sweet Emily. Anguish, sorrow, devastation, numb. Beaming, sunlight, mighty. Love, life, force. There are no words to truly explain the magnitude of this loss, and there are no words that can really explain the beauty that was Emily. But still, we try, and words come out of our mouths, and we hope we can capture even a sliver of all that she was and all that she could have been. In her 18 and almost 19 years on this earth, Emily lived a life beyond what many of us could imagine. She was an adventurer at heart with a desire to experience all her parents could give her. She was tenacious, sometimes by choice and sometimes by circumstance. Some people described Emma as fearless, and I know she was. But I also think that she was willing to face her fears and challenges head on, even when she was scared. And in all she had and all that she did, she was one of the most down-to-earth humans I knew. The way that I knew Emily was that she had so much, but often just delighted in the simple pleasures of life, like a delicious cookie or pastry, the just right mani design and color, a holiday with her family, an East Coast fish dinner, finding the best song for dark floor loud listening, you'll learn more about that in a minute, or the recounting of my ridiculous dreams. With her kind heart and easygoing nature, it was comfortable to be around Em, like home. But as we all know, there was so much more to Emily. She was so smart, thoughtful, introspective, compassionate, generous with her love, her time, her actions, caring deeply about the environment, mental health, people who did not share in the same privilege or opportunities with which she was familiar, and the world in which she resided. Emily had so many friends from across the country and around the world, with her arms outstretched, those stunning eyes, and that enormous smile that left you no choice but to smile with her. She brought an unsuspecting community of people together, bonded by her friendship and love. Here we all are together. Emily had an expansive family, a collection of the two families she was born into, and the ones she made along the way. And she loved, loved, loved her friends and family, all of them, all of you. She knew so many people and made her way into all their hearts and lives. Anyone with the fortune and pleasure to know and spend time with Emily is richer in spirit, stronger in love, and better for it. Recently, I realized that what I know about Em is a sliver of who she was. I have the honor of being able to tell you, but each person here, directly or by extension, has their own story, and together we make up the collective memory of Emily. Think about that. Look around you. Each of us holds something precious about Emily in our hearts and in our minds. Sitting here today, we make up the whole of Emily's spirit. Most of you are strangers to me, but the memory of Emily will forever connect us. She was an old soul in a young body with enormous potential. Her time here was far too short. She was just spreading her wings and starting to soar. What she could have or would have been, we can only imagine now. I miss her now and will forever miss the promise of her extraordinary life. How we push through or get by will differ for each of us, but I don't know how, but I know we do. So for me, as I travel this journey, I promise to treasure and share the gift of what my sliver of knowing you will always mean to me. I promise to appreciate the simple pleasures in life. I promise to love and enjoy my friends and family. I promise to care about the world in which I live. I promise to be kind for the sake of being kind. I promise to do the thing that will make a difference. I promise to never stop listening to music. I promise to face my fears. And I promise to keep you alive in my heart and my spirit every day. Rest easy, sweet Emily. Love you forever.
I'm shaking. I think I'm good there. I want to start just by letting you know that I am a bit terrified of public speaking. So excuse me if that comes across. I'm very honored to have been asked to be here today, to love and remember dear Emily, and to share a few thoughts. I'm Emily's aunt. I will adore her endlessly for so many reasons. I see her in my mind's eye, smiling, always her beautiful smile. There is so much to miss without her in our lives, and we all know that for sure. It all feels so wrong, unfair, and difficult to believe. Sue and Reggie and I have this heartbreak in common. Wayne and I lost our oldest son, Ryan, Emily's cousin, to a tragic accident almost 5 years ago. Excuse me. Not a day goes by that I don't think of him, miss him, remember his smile, remember his gentle way with his young daughter, Donovan, and just so many wonderful moments and times with him from infant to adult. Friends and family were really there for us and supported us through it all. At that time, Sue Franciose blew me away with her expertise and her willingness to deal with us with so many details in Denver where the accident happened while we were bracing ourselves in Massachusetts for life without Ryan. I'm forever grateful to her for her strength and her powerful way of navigating us through that unthinkable time. How could anyone ever imagine that she and Reggie and the entire family again would be facing this huge loss today? I wish I could turn back time and change the harsh reality for them. Despite having been through this anguish, I really don't have the answers on how we get through. There is no greater loss, nothing that could possibly feel more cruel than to lose the life of your beautiful child, way too young, and way too soon. The closest thing I might come to an answer is in how we deal is with our family and friends. This is just amazing to see all of you here. The Franciose family were each there to listen, to comfort us, hold us, guide us through the sorrow. We get through with their kindnesses, paying attention to moments in time, the memories that whirl through our hearts and heads. The care that comes from the Franciose family is a powerful comfort. I'm not a Franciose by blood, yet the family has made me feel the love as if I were one of them for all these years. I live in Massachusetts, where I fell in love with the Francioses. Many of the family are there, and over the years have moved here to beautiful Colorado. My two oldest sons got their first taste working at a Rocky Mountain resort that Uncle Reggie helped them secure when they were still in high school. My daughter-in-law Priscilla and my granddaughter Donovan are outside Denver, as are numerous cousins, all of which I love dearly, and am lucky enough to spend time with them here and there, including many very wonderful times and memorable moments with Reggie, Sue, and Emily. Emily's enthusiasm to finish high school in Switzerland could be felt through the phone. The photos she sent said it all. In that magnificent snowy backdrop, she could enjoy endless skiing, meeting new friends, and experiencing her adulthood. We talked occasionally or FaceTimed with Donovan, her love for her senior year home clearly coming through the miles. A regular topic of text with Emily in Switzerland was sharing the latest song each of us were into at the time. This began yet many years ago with a mutual love for a kind of quirky thing I called dark floor loud listening. We would do this at my house, usually at night, laying on the floor, sometime holding hands, calling out to the smart speaker for a favorite tune, played loud. Maybe you can picture yourself there with us, the music making us laugh, smile, moving us, lifting us, soothing us. For Emily and me, sharing songs also kept us close despite the miles apart. Perhaps when you have a quiet moment one evening, you can give the DFLL, the dark floor loud listening, a try. Perhaps there are so many songs you could choose from. You could choose one of your own. You could choose one that is Emily's favorite. You could choose something from Deb Franciose's amazing piano playing. You could choose something from Reggie in the 80s, which was the playlist that Emily put together for her dad recently. Two songs that I just wanted to recommend are Catch the Wind by Donovan and Hold Me in Your Heart by Warren Zevon, if you can remember those to take home with you. And I hope when you do listen, it brings Emily near and feels like a giant Franciose hug to you all. Before I go, I was remembering a dream that I had about Ryan after he passed away. He stopped what he was doing to show me some of his specialty hugs. It was glorious. He had all these different ways of hugging. He's demonstrated on me his hug techniques, which made me feel that he was really in my arms. Going on without Emily, as without Ryan, feels unimaginable and impossible at times. If there's any comfort, especially to Sue and Reggie, it may be a bit about the family that embraces them, and perhaps also knowing that Ryan Franciose is now holding Emily Franciose in his glorious hug.
Kind of hard to top that. change in your program. Obviously, I'm not an aunt. I'm Brian Jetty. Tracy is my wife, Reg's youngest sister. And it's all legal, but Lynn is also my sister, so I'll explain later. My son, Tyler, was asked to speak as one of the cousins, and we had the great fortune of becoming first-time grandparents 2 weeks ago. So having a 2-year-old at home prevented him from, two-week-old, sorry, prevented him from traveling, but he sent me his words, and I will try to do them justice. So this is speaking from Tyler. Imagine a much taller, much more handsome young man. Emily was my cousin on Reg's side, and I am truly honored to be speaking to you here today. It's difficult to put into words the gravity of this loss. I think everyone here can feel that. Young and vibrant souls like Emily aren't supposed to leave us. The sadness, the anger, the confusion we all feel, it stems in part from that simple fact. Emily wasn't supposed to go. She was supposed to be here with us. She was supposed to realize all her incredible promise. She was supposed to grow up. And she was supposed to lead us into the future. That she won't get the chance to do that is hard to grasp. As cold as that reality may be, I feel it's important to acknowledge. The only things we truly own in life are moments in time. We no longer have Emily, but we all have the moments we had with her, and I'm lucky enough to get to share a few of mine with you today. Emily was pure magic. She was tough, witty, funny, and mature beyond her years. When I was with her, I often had to remind myself that she was a teenager because she so effortlessly meshed with an often much older crowd around her. The relationship that I had with her never failed to warm my heart. She would send me what she called life updates, which were just videos of her explaining in great detail what was going on in her life. Things she was happy about, things she was sad about, friends, family, school, drama, you name it. I got a life update about it. Once I sent her a message that was just a single eyeball emoji because I hadn't heard from her in a while. She immediately responded with a video saying, "Okay, I guess I'm assuming that means you want a life update." I think 10 minutes later, she was still sending update videos, and I was still watching them. My favorite memory with Emily is from a few years back. It's when I truly got to know her when I truly understood how special she was. My brother and I were visiting Colorado and headed out to Sue and Reg's lake house. We had to take 2 cars, and because it's a little tricky to find your way out there, Reg suggested that he and my brother drive together and that me and Emily make the trek. Reg didn't know it, I didn't know it, but that little suggestion was one of the most beautiful gifts I've ever been given. I'll admit I wasn't quite sure what her and I would talk about for all that time, but Emily took care of that. She wasn't nervous or tentative at all. She seemed excited. Emily and I spent 2+ uninterrupted hours just talking. I got to listen to her, get to know her, understand her. I got to ask her questions. I got just to be there with her. It was so simple, and yet it was so very sweet. I cherished that time from the very moment it happened. It always felt like something much more than a car ride because it was. Back then, it was the beginning of a lifelong friendship, and now it's one of the moments in time that I'm lucky enough to own and give residence in my heart. Grief is love that's lost its home. The grief we feel over Emily's loss is the love we are no longer able to give directly to her. As tragic as that is, if you really think about it, there's staggering beauty in it as well. We grieve not just because we loved Emily in the past tense, but because we love her right now, in this moment. And because we will continue to love her into the future forever. So my advice to you is to welcome that grief. Allow yourself to feel it. Let it break you down. Let it overwhelm you with sadness. And then acknowledge that it is rooted in love and use it. Use it to be kind or to have fun or to try something new. Use it to show love to your family or friends, or better yet, to a total stranger. Use it to send that text or to make that phone call or to send that life update. Use it to project some sort of goodness out into the world. And when you do, keep our sweet Emily at the front of your mind, on the surface of your heart. In that way, you'll honor her, you'll remember her, and your love for her will always have a home. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name's Greg. Emily's cousin. Well, technically second cousin. Once removed, I think. But that's not what really matters. What matters is, in our family, no matter how distant you are, if you come from the bloodline, you're treated like immediate family, and boy was Emily proud of that. She was proud of her large, extended family. And Sue and Reg extended that family to me when I arrived in Colorado. That was the first time I met Sue and Reg as an adult. And a year later, Emily was born. After a few moves for me around the valley, Sue and Reg offered their extra bedroom to me, and I did not refuse. Over those years, watching Emily grow up was a blessing. It was amazing. And most recently, it was amazing to watch her grow into the confident young woman she was becoming. Emily and I had a unique relationship. To us, we were just Greg and Emily. But my wife just once told me I was like a cousin, uncle, brother, and friend all rolled in one. And I think she's right. During our family get-togethers, we used to joke about Emily not fitting in. She was a whole generation behind most of us. But I've never known a 17-year-old that loves to hang out with her 30 and 40-something-year-old cousins and enjoy every minute of it. I also don't know any child or kid that when given the option to go anywhere in the world for Thanksgiving break would choose Barre, Massachusetts. For those of you that don't know, Barre, Massachusetts is the Franciose hometown of about 5,000 people in the middle of nowhere, Massachusetts. Emily wanted to do this because, as she said, Thanksgiving is for family. Although I want to think we taught Emily a lot, she taught us a lot too. From how kids do math, to pit vipers and TikTok, and most recently, world traveling. The other week, I was playing a game with one of my 6-year-old cousins where you take a picture and the phone tells you what animal it thinks you are. Now, I wasn't thinking about Emily's picture, but I was thinking about her personality, and I think she would be a chameleon. Some of these quick stories myself and others are sharing or referencing today show that. But when I think about it, Emily could go from an event in Vail with the elites of Vail to hanging out with her friends, back to being a student, and then to a family get-together and never miss a beat. She belonged wherever she went, and that is an amazing attribute. Now, I could tell stories all day, but knowing Emily, I think she would like this better. And I think Sue and Reg had the same idea with the purple cards out there. When we're done here today and we're congregating and you're around your loved ones, your friends, all of Emily's friends, take a minute and share a story with someone you may not know. The person walking by, any of the family that came from far away or lives here, just a quick one. Maybe just blurt it out in passing. I think Emily would like that. And I think she would like it a lot better than hearing her big cuz blab away up here, probably embarrassing her, but not embarrassing her enough to really bother her. So a couple more things. I never had the chance to thank Emily, and I probably really wouldn't have. But I can thank you, Sue and Reg. The experience of living with you shaped me into the father I am today. Now, lastly, Reg coined a saying quite a long time ago, and our side of the family adopted that and would sometimes tease, but I think Emily liked it as well. And it attests to her old soul and the wonderful life that Sue and Reg provided for Emily while she was here. And it goes like this. When I grow up, I want to be Emily Francoise. Well, I still do, and that will never change. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. Experts in the field tell me that grief is the most difficult emotion that humans experience, and that no one gets through this life unscathed by it. I'm thankful for the marks that Emily Franciose's life made on mine. I'm Emily's cousin James, although we were as close as a big brother and a little sister. You see, I grew up in Pennsylvania and moved to Colorado after college. Sue and Reg opened their home to me as I found a new start way out west, mainly chasing dreams of bow hunting the Rocky Mountains and working for a local construction management company. Thanks, Chris and Michelle. The dream I initially had changed course, and I found myself staying with Sue and Emily while I went back to school to pursue a different career path. I feel lucky to have filled the role of Emily's big brother for her teenage years. Emily was quick and witty with a great sense of humor. We would spend hours laughing about inside jokes that typically involved her impressive ability to roast me with hilarious and true insults when life wasn't going exactly how I had planned it. Emily always brought out the goofy side of me when I was taking life too seriously, and I love that about her. So, if you'll indulge me, I'd like to share a few of my favorite memories of her with you. I recall teaching Emily to drive when she was 15 years old at the lake house one 4th of July after a day of boating. I handed her the keys to my old pickup truck while telling her, "Don't break it." As I hopped in the passenger seat, her eyes lit up and she smiled. She would stomp on the throttle, the truck would roar down the gravel road in a cloud of dust, and we'd both laugh hysterically. One particular powder day, we were skiing and snowboarding together in the back bowls of Vail, jumping off of rocks below Lover's Leap, and disappearing into literal feet of fresh powder instead of making graceful landings. Bursts of laughter ensued after each subsequent wipeout. Then there were the countless times Sue, Emily, and I would endeavor to make chocolate chip cookies. If you know anything about Sue, you know how incredibly efficient she is. She had this process dialed in and could whip up a batch of cookie dough in a few short minutes with Emily's help. I quickly learned that I was just getting in the way. So I mainly helped with the taste testing and quality control of the cookie dough. This was a weekly occurrence in the Franciose household, yet I can only ever recall having actual chocolate chip cookies out of an oven just once. We all preferred the cookie dough better anyhow, preferably with a glass of ice cold milk. One of my favorite times occurred when my best friend Mike got an internship in Colorado so we could take advantage of the hunting opportunities on our days off. My brother Dave also joined us for some of the time, and it was like Emily had 3 live-in, goofy older brothers that were known to bust out dance moves to the latest TikTok tunes in the kitchen without any notice. She loved the entertainment. I know we drove Sue absolutely nuts. Thankfully, Emily's Snapchat camera roll of all the embarrassing photos and videos of us hasn't been leaked yet. I moved away shortly before Emily began her senior year in Switzerland. We met up for tacos, and it was so good to hear about all the new experiences she was having and all the new friends that she was making. It was clear to me that she was making the absolute best of this opportunity. She was spreading her wings, and I was really proud of her. My heart breaks for Sue, Reg, and anyone lucky enough to have a memory of Emily that brings a smile to their face. Emily was a truly epic person, and she brought so much joy to so many people's lives. I know every time I think of her, among the grief and the heartache, I always find myself smiling, thinking of how lucky I am for the memories that we shared. She was taken way too soon, and she is missed dearly. Thank you.
Hello, Vale, family and friends of Emily. Wow, there's a lot of you. But that doesn't surprise me at all, actually. I mean, of course. I'll get to that in a minute. My name is Lydia. I'm a teacher and also a family head at the École des Humanités, which is a small boarding school in the Swiss Alps, where Emily lived and attended school since August. In our small boarding school, students don't live in big dormitories. Instead, we live in houses. We call ourselves families, actually, because we live so close together. We spend so much time together intensely that we get to know each other, for better or for worse. We have 10 students in our house, which is called House Catherine. 6 of House Catherine members are here with us today. I'd like to invite them to come up with me on the stage. And Oscar, too. This is Emily's family in Switzerland. My daughter Maya, Mathis, my daughter Clara, Eli, Valentine, Lionel, Oscar, and I also want to shout out to the other members who aren't here today, but who are watching on the live stream. Madeline, Zoe, Elle, and Sarah, and Nathalie. Emily arrived in House Catherine and in Switzerland the day after her 18th birthday. And I say arrived, but actually it was more like she burst. She burst. She burst into our lives and into our community with so much enthusiasm, so much joie de vivre. I fell in love with her in the first week of school when each of our families on campus goes for a hike out into the mountains to search for wild blueberries. It's our first chance to get to know the students and to begin to form those early memories that become the bonds of friendship. Not everyone is into it, even though it's one of the most spectacular places you can possibly take a hike. But Emily was positively giddy. She was buoyant and goofy, and it was impossible not to fall in love with her. And that was just the start. It only got better from there. I want you all to know how much and how quickly we loved Emily. She was our glue in House Catherine. We called her that all the time, our glue. She brought us all together. She was our core, our center. Her room and my daughter Maya's room was the place where everyone would gather way too late at night to just have a good time, to dance, because there was always music going. And Emily was the force that made that happen. Our school is more than just a school. We're a community where we teach students not just, about subjects, but we also teach them how to live with each other. We expect students to share, to participate, and to give. Emily arrived ready, really ready, to give, to support, to organize, and to help. In record time, she built strong friendships and made herself integral to our lives. It wasn't but a few months before our little house and our entire school felt that she had been there forever. And it's clear why. And this is where I get back to all of you. She was raised in and by a community. When she arrived, she was on her own. We didn't have the full context of her background. We didn't know all of you. But it soon became very evident. I mean, Emily was a walking billboard for the Vail community. Most of her hoodies, t-shirts, and hats came from the various organizations and businesses around Vail. And she would tell us stories. So many stories at the meals about you. She was proud of you. She was proud to be from here. Emily arrived ready for community. She knew how to extend her love, her generosity beyond herself, beyond her family, even beyond her friends, because everyone was her friend. Everyone was valuable, everyone mattered. She saw good in everyone and everything. She approached her relationships with humor and kindness while exhibiting unbelievable strength. She had a very strong moral compass and humble leadership. She learned that here. She learned that from all of you, from her teachers, to her administrators and parents at the Vail Mountain School, from business owners who knew how to give back in times of need, from volunteers and staff of community service organizations who donate time and resources to causes which lift up others and improve lives, from the ski patrol and rescue teams, the medical professionals who taught her what it means to care selflessly for others. Most of all, Emily learned this from her incredible parents, Sue and Reg. It was obvious she was raised by them to care, to give, to be humble and unselfish. I can hear Emily say in this funny Southern accent she often used to make us laugh, "Yep, I reckon this stuff doesn't come from nothing." Emily shared that generosity of spirit with us. Although I was her family head and her advisor, she taught me so much. So Vail, I want to thank you. This community raised an incredible young woman, one who will continue to give and to teach us here and to the rest of the Ecole community for all of our lives. We miss her terribly. She's left a huge, huge hole in our community. Thank you.
going to ask our students to stay here and support us because we need your help. Good morning. That will make sense later. My name is Brian Stark. I'm an American living and working in the Swiss boarding school Lydia just talked about, where Emily attended this year. We're a small high school, just about 100 students from all over the world. And as staff, we wear many different hats. I'm an AP English teacher and also the Dean of Academics. One of my jobs is to interview prospective students. I first met Emily and Sue when they came to tour the school last spring. Most of the time, parents find our school through a friend or online research, and the parents talk the student into going. And that was not the case with Emily. She knew what she wanted. She knew she wanted something different for her senior year, and as you all know, when Emily wants something, she gets it done. She stayed up late researching the boarding school options, and once she found us, she read everything she could. She immediately contacted our admissions team that night. By the next morning, they told me, she woke up Sue saying, "Well, I found it. I found the school I'm going to go to, and I already talked to admissions." Just a few weeks later, we sat in the interview room overlooking the towering mountains around our school, and I looked down at my list of standard questions. Why do you want to attend this school? Are you okay with doing some chores? How do you feel about having a roommate? And I looked up at Emily, and suddenly, my list of necessary questions didn't seem that necessary. I realized I wasn't even sure why we were having this interview. Emily was such a total shoo-in. There wasn't a question she wasn't going to go to this school, and she would be an asset to our community there, just as I've learned today how much of an asset she was here. I could tell that the second I met her. And I was right. She threw herself into everything. She tried new activities. She made new friends. She pushed herself physically. And she connected people. She was thriving there and living her best life. One of our teachers, Melissa, told me recently, she asked Emily just this spring, "Are you glad you came here? Do you ever regret your decision?" And Emily replied, "I absolutely made the right decision. I'm so happy that I came here." Another role I have is being a family head with Lydia, and we're lucky to have Emily join our house. There are 3 adults, and when we're not teaching, we try to keep track of 10 teenagers with their busy social lives and schedules. Our long active days start at 7 in the morning, and though I've heard that alarm clocks work pretty well all around the world, for most people, for some reason at our school, those alarm clocks don't work for students at the École. So when the point was made at a family meeting last winter that students in our house weren't making it to breakfast on time, we discussed who could take on the job of waking people up each morning. I think you see where I'm going here. It's a tricky thing to be asked to wake up 10 groggy teenagers and to do it with a smile and have it work. I've seen a lot of kids try this role, and my research says that for some reason, there seems to be a direct correlation between the respect the sleeping person has for the waker-upperer and their willingness to be woken up. Our solution was Emily, and she got the job done. She did that. I started each morning greeting her in the hallway. She'd often wear her Smokey the Bear hoodie and short shorts, standard attire, or one of her Vail Teleski hoodies. And she woke everyone up each morning with a "good morning" in an almost musical voice, and of course, a smile. And it worked. It worked really well. She woke us up. Emily woke us up all the time and helped us make sure we were living our best lives. Today, in honor of her enduring spirit, I thought maybe we could all join in her morning line as a reminder to wake up and live our best lives. So let's say her greeting all together now. You know the words. Maybe we can commit to being our best selves, just like she always did. Ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Maya. I have to say I feel so happy and safe to be up here in front of you all, and I know exactly why that is. That is because Emily came from all of you, and there aren't many people with whom I felt so safe after such little time as with Emily. As you've heard, we live in very tight-knit families, and who's in your families affects your life at the Ecole quite a lot. And especially who your roommate is can have a huge impact on your time there. I was a senior this past year, and so I had the option of having a single room or having this new, unknown student be my roommate. And many told me, you know, you never know what you're getting into with a new roommate. This is a bit of a risk. And they were completely right. I had no idea what I was getting into when I said that rather than having a single room, I would rather have Emily as a roommate, this girl who I had met very briefly the previous spring when I gave her a tour of our school. I can't say how glad I am that I took this risk and was Emily's roommate. From the tour I gave her to a brief bit of contact over the summer, I had a good feeling about her, but I wasn't completely sure I had made a good decision until about our first 10 minutes together. As she was unpacking her suitcases all over our floor, our conversation was immediately sparking and lively, and I knew we were going to have so much fun that year. And we did have so much fun. About a month into our roommate relationship, we had to start mopping our floor as a part of our weekly cleaning routine because when we would brush our teeth every evening, usually, I would come back into the room so that we could continue talking. And she would, without fail, make me laugh so uncontrollably that I would drool toothpaste all over our floor. And sweeping was not enough at some point. That was one such routine of love and happiness that she brought into my life. Another one started when winter came and we would ski together. We had had some rough conditions in Switzerland this year with very, very little snow at the start of the winter, and I was not in a great mood. I was not very enthusiastic to get out skiing at the beginning of the season. And Emily turned this completely around. The first time I skied with her, we snuck off to the side of the mountain where students usually aren't supposed to go, and we had an amazing time. As she taught me to telemark ski, she introduced me to the term frothing, which I believe comes from the Vail ski community. What I believe embodies froth, I think I had felt before, that just childlike joy and excitement and sheer happiness to be out on the mountain. I had had this before in Switzerland, but no one could unleash it as well and as consistently in me as Emily. This enthusiasm is one of the main virtues I associate with her. Another one was her generosity. Students at our school are only allowed to go down to town once a week if you're over 16, so snacks are a hot commodity. And Emily returned every week with cranberry juice and fancy chocolate bars and cookies she picked out for everyone, and she never did not share her treats. We had one of her old shipping containers that we called the box, and she always shared her food. And I didn't even have to ask. I would come into the room, and she would be breaking off a piece of chocolate, and she would just hand me one. And at some point in our roommate relationship, as she would hand me this piece of food without being asked, she would say, "My wife," as she handed it to me, for my wife, in one of her many accents that she did. This was amusing at first, and, I thought it was a little funny that she said this as she gave it to me. One reason that she might have said this is because after a couple months of living together, we started to joke and discuss how we had more of a healthy and committed relationship than many of the couples at the Ecole. This didn't end with her calling me my wife. In the first week of living together, I told her that me and my roommate the past year would sometimes put our twin beds together into one big bed where people could watch movies. And she jumped on this idea. We put the beds together in the first week and never went back from big bed. Besides our love of food and chocolate, we also found a love of physical contact, and often as we'd fall asleep in our big bed, we would touch legs or sort of hold feet under the covers, and this became yet another routine of love that we had. There's a balcony attached to our room, and I told her also that I would sometimes last year put a mattress out there and sleep under the stars. She also jumped on this idea, and she was often, as the days got colder, the one dragging me outside to sleep on the single mattress extended by a rolled up yoga mat and then a bunched up comforter so that we had a little bit more room. This mattress unfortunately molded halfway into the year, and we unfortunately continued to use it because you can't beat sleeping out under the stars. As we would go to bed every night on our big bed or a moldy mattress, she started saying "wa'aini" to me after she said goodnight, which means "I love you" in Mandarin. This is also a little amusing to me. I wasn't really sure why she was saying it in a different language, but I said it back, and after a little bit we switched to just saying "I love you" in English. And then later we had a very deep conversation about what it means to love people and tell them that you love them, and she said that one thing she hated the most was when she told people she loved them and they didn't say that back to her. Now, I don't know why anyone would do that, but we agreed on this, and since she's passed, I found I've been much more bold in telling people that I love them, and I have Emily to thank for that. I have to echo Henry in what he said, that among teaching me this, she has made me a better person in so many ways, from encouraging me to show people I love them exactly how she did. Every day that I told her that I loved her as we went to bed, I meant that even more, because every day she brought so much joy and laughter into my life. And something that makes me really happy right now, something I said at our memorial at our school, is that she continues to bring me joy and happiness. And thinking about Emily, I said was like touching a stone, because she's such a steady person on the inside, and that safety that I felt with her, the unconditional love and support that I got from her will never go away. Emily, you incredible girl, my wife, I will always love you so much. Thank you. Okay, hold on a second. I have to adjust. Okay, hey, I'm Hannah. Emily was my best friend freshman year when I lived here, and she continued to be until she passed. We drifted a little bit the past year, and I regret nothing more. From driving like an hour and a half to get some mediocre acrylic nails for like $200, to making really disgusting cupcakes and burning my fingers on her ceramic mugs that she told me would get hot in the microwave multiple times, to taking her to my house in Evergreen and driving around with her and my friends. I love her very much. And I play piano and guitar, and so I wrote a song for her. And some of you have heard it, and some of you have not, and so I'm going to play it. And I hope everybody enjoys. Also, I'm a little nervous, so just hopefully you don't notice.
He texted me while I was on tour. I didn't believe him, so I made sure. I thought it was a joke at first. There's so much that I miss about you, like the way you would never tie your shoes. You always had that little tattoo. I didn't want to think that you could possibly be gone so soon. You showed me it's okay to dream, and there's a world out there I need to see. Don't waste a second or a breath to tell the ones you love them to death. If I could go back, I would do so much different. I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish. I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish. I miss your hair, your laugh, your dog. I miss the way you treat your mom. Everyone deserves to know you like I do. That little freckle in your eye, the one that you so much despise. I wish that you could see you like I do. Every day I think of you and how you're painting the sky blue. I really hope there's a heaven above where you can ski down all the best runs. Don't waste a second or a breath to tell the ones you love them to death. If I could go back, I would do so much different. I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish. There's plenty of men and there's drink and there's drugs, but we both know that it won't be enough. Are those real stars that hang in the sky, or are they man-made of the light? You were my home, I miss my home. Oh, don't waste a second or a breath to tell the ones you love them to death. If I could go back, I would do so much different. I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish. Don't waste a second or a breath to tell the ones you love them to death. I wish I could go back, 'cause when you love someone, you tell them that. I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish. I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish. Thank you.
Oh, how do we follow all of this? Wow.
See, everybody's got all these notes.
Yeah.
Of course, I lost mine. So we start off exactly with what you would expect. So the first thing I would like to do is thank you all for being here. And the second thing I would like to do is thank Sue for arranging all this, because those of you who know me know that there would be no chance I could pull this off. So my relationship with Emily was a little bit different than everybody else's because I'm her father. And as she grew up into this vivacious kid, she had a lot of attitude with me at times. And we would speak like adults. And the more it went on, the more likely she would best me. And I'm a pretty smart guy. And I usually don't get pushed around much. So I said to Emily one day, "Where do you get this frickin' attitude?" And she goes, "It's called genetics." I mean, I was like, holy shit. So I knew this was happening, this evolution of child becoming more responsible, more crazy, more accurate, strong. And a couple things happened before she left that showed me she was really spreading her wings. One is we paddled the river a lot, and as you know, the best paddler goes in the back, and that's how we taught all the kids that we know to paddle. They sit in the front of the two-person kayak. So we took Crosby, our 130-pound house cat, and me and Emily go back on the river for what ended up being the last time. And we start out like we always do. I'm in the back, and then we pull over, we have lunch, we run the dog a little bit, and without saying a word, she just gets in the back. I'm better than you are at this now. And as my body and mind began to fail, I couldn't help but accept that fact. So there was the kayak. And then there was this very special night, about a week before she went to Switzerland, when we took her out to dinner, Ruth and myself, and Emily got lit up for some reason. She was animated because I think she was happy to be going to Switzerland. Oh, that's another story. I get a call from Sue at 7:30 in the morning. "Emily's moving to Switzerland." Tomorrow? Today? When? What's this about? I have no idea. But she would do what she wanted to. So she gets lit up at dinner, and she is animated, and she's just so excited. And one of the things I knew of this takeover of power struggle was when she stopped calling me Dad and started calling me Reg. I'm like, how does she get to be Mom and I'm Reg? So she goes, "Listen, Reg, I want to tell you what it's like growing up Emily Franciose in Vail, Colorado." I'm like, "Lay it on me, kid." And she goes, "You know all those cool things you thought you did with me when I was a kid? Not so cool, Dad." And I go, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You know when I was 4 or 5, you'd take me to ski patrol and you had to call on the radio and say I'm with Emily or not with Emily, and if you're with Emily, some patroller has to come and get me and take me somewhere to give me noodles." Dad, Reg, if they're calling you, something's going on, and every patroller wants to be there. So by 5 or 6 years old, I understand that come get Emily is the short straw. You probably thought I was the coolest kid on the mountain. I was actually the short straw for years. And that made me want to learn to really ski well so I could ski with the patrollers and it wasn't such a pain for them when I was the short straw. And she goes, and besides, I'm only this big and I'm a girl, and some 6-foot guy that weighs 180 or 200 pounds with a big, huge beard and a helmet would come get me. And you could tell they really, really didn't want to feed Emily noodles. And she went on and on. You know, the next thing she said was, oh yeah, Reg, now I'm about 7, and we ski down the hill, and you answer the phone, and you swore like you usually do, and then you said, yeah, the baseball field, I'll be there in a few. And I'm 7 years old. You kick off your ski boots, you put on your other boots, we drive to the baseball field. There's a couple cop cars with the lights flashing. You stick me in the front seat of a cop car with the lights flashing. A helicopter lands, and you walk across and fly away. That's not cool, Dad. I didn't even know where you were going. But I love that kid. And several, well, humbling things have happened since the incident, the avalanche that took her. The other day, someone came up to me and said, you know, Emily was worried when she was moving away. I said, about what? She said, oh, I go out with my dad a lot at night, and I have to keep an eye on him. I don't know who's going to do that. And then there was Reg in the 80s, the playlist. So Emily sends me a picture on, you know, texts me a picture. And I look at it, and I'm operating in cloth scrubs, not paper. And I go, geez, that's Mozambique. That's around 92, 93 probably. Gene went, and Glenn Gale Hood and myself. And though Dr. Harkin didn't really want me to go. And I said, where'd you get that picture? She said, oh, I found a slide carousel that had about 100 slides in it, and I had them digitized to, for you, so you could have these old pictures from Africa. I'm like, that's really cool. And she goes, Dad, that's not the picture. That's not the point of the picture. It's a playlist. I'm like, what's a playlist? She goes, you can play it on the Spotify I put on your phone. I go, when'd you do that? She goes, I put a lot of stuff on there. I'm hoping you'll learn to use it. So when Emily wanted to go to Switzerland, I had a lot of, first of all, when Emily wanted to go to Switzerland, Emily was gonna go to Switzerland. And I had a lot of, you know, thoughts like, do you just need to spread your wings because you're part of us? Or are you trying to get away from us because we're so domineering? And when we sat down with her roommates and friends from Switzerland, they were uncomfortable because of what happened. We were uncomfortable, and we're trying to break the ice because we really wanted to know who she lived with and how they lived and what they did. And so I took out my phone and I said, hey, does anybody know what this is? The playlist that I had never accessed. And they all, or several of them said, yeah, we all listened to Reg in the 80s. And that was so comforting to me. And the last thing I would tell you is there was this really cool t-shirt, that Ski Patrol t-shirt that said, Vail Ski Patrol hauling ass since '62. And Emily thought that was really cool when she was about 14, 15, because it said ass on it. And VMS had a dress code, but she would wear it under something else and walk around going, hey, no, it says ass on my back. So we had been stealing that t-shirt back and forth for, 5, 6 years. It'd disappear from my closet. Then I'd find it in her hamper, and then, you know, back and forth. You'd have it for a couple weeks or a couple months, and eventually you knew it was going to get stolen again. So as soon as we started stripping her room in Switzerland, which was gut-wrenching, I'm like, I want that damn t-shirt back, because I know she took it to Switzerland. So I rifled through everything. I could not find the t-shirt. And then that photo that I sent a bunch of you that shows her skiing up, her last photo, and you magnify it, and her face is pure joy. If you look at it on a phone, you can't tell because the screen's too big. But if you look at it on a monitor of some sort, you can just barely see the little red cross there. So she has it on. I want my t-shirt back. Thank you all.
I'll warn you right now, mine's not going to be funny. So, as Reg said, I mean, we'd both like to thank, our family, our friends, and the Vail community for the amazing love and support over the past few months, especially Vail Ski Patrol, Vail Mountain School, Vail Resorts, Vail Health. We're truly grateful beyond any words. The Tree of Life symbol was very special to Emily and I. It represents the afterlife and the connection between earth and heaven. Whether you wear the necklace, hang it up, or put it in a drawer, I hope that you will think of Emily when you see it. I'm so grateful for those that traveled from Switzerland. Obviously, it was great to have everybody up here so everybody could see who they were. Appreciate them making the journey and spending the weekend with Reg and I, sharing stories about how Emily lived her last 6 months. Many have asked what happened and what is happening in Switzerland, so I will address that now. Emily was part of a backcountry ski group that skied together out of bounds most afternoons. They were all expert skiers and very knowledgeable of the sport. On March 21st, 7 students, 2 guides, and 3 others were skiing when an avalanche started approximately 75 yards above them. She and Archie Harvey were swept away without warning. The kids that witnessed the event claimed it was, kind of very odd, yet peaceful, almost beautiful, as the cloud of snow sparkled, and then they were just gone. The avalanche was approximately 500 meters wide by 1,500 meters long. Archie was found within a few hours at the bottom of the runoff and was buried approximately 6 feet deep. Emily's backpack, her ski, and 1 pole were located near Archie, but her body has still not yet been located. The search continues with frequent drone flights and search crews a few times a week, depending on the weather. Last weekend, Emily's other pole was located. The snow is melting quickly, and we hope to have more news soon. Okay, it will get a little funny, but not much. Okay, now's the hard part. How do you summarize a precious child's life in a few minutes? The day Emily was born was the best day of my life. I feel so proud, grateful, and blessed that the universe chose her to be my daughter and for me to be her mom. Emily was a gentle soul, wise beyond her years. She was kind, generous, honest, fun, adventurous, supportive, and inclusive of others. She always knew what she wanted. The bigger the challenge, the more determined she was to accomplish it. She always dreamed big and believed that anything was possible. It's what led her to the special people, the places, and the experiences that were meant to be in her life. We traveled internationally a lot, which gave Emily an appreciation of the magnitude of the world and her place in it. She learned how to live with grace in doing what she could to make an impact on others and a difference with her actions. Emily did not conform easily, which should not be a surprise with Reg and I as her parents. Emily had big wings and was ready to soar at an early age. Although a bit shocked, we really weren't surprised when she found a school in the Swiss Alps that she wanted to attend for her senior year of high school. She found her people, her place, and her adventure at the École School. She became the absolute best version of herself and the person she was meant to be. Anyone that saw her at Christmas or anyone looking at her recent photos noticed the transformation immediately. We were able to read Emily's college essays for the first time when we went to Switzerland in March. Her main college essay was how moving to Switzerland was the best decision she had ever made, which is a comfort to me, knowing that's how strongly she felt. The mother-daughter relationship can be so unbelievably powerful if you're lucky enough to have it. A connection only a few can dream of, let alone reach. Emily and I were extremely grateful that we had that. We built a uniquely beautiful, strong bond over the years. I have no regrets. We said everything we wanted and needed to say. She knew how I felt. She was my life. She completed my world. And how wonderful it is to know that she felt the same way about me. I'm so grateful for that gift. Truly blessed beyond words. I've always felt her soul in my heart, and that has not and will never change. A very wise and loving man said to me, quote, "Although your physical relationship is no longer present, your spiritual and emotional relationship is just beginning. She is still in your heart. Her presence surrounds you, even more so now, with her spirit, her energy, and her soul. And it can and will be even more powerful than anything you've ever experienced. She has not left. She has just changed." There are so many things that have happened since her death, and I'd like to share two stories. There were many books that were delivered to my home while Reg and I were in Switzerland. One book caught my attention. The first page had a photo of a heart with flames coming out of it, a sword going through it, and wrapped with flowers. The heart looked broken and angry, which were the emotions I had been feeling. The sword looked very similar to the sword that Emily and I bought for Reg while we were traveling through Spain in October. And the flowers wrapping the heart were daisies, which are my favorite flowers. The next page said, quote, "These words are meant for you," unquote, which seemed rather powerful in itself. The following page had a drawing of a left eye, which reminded me of the birthmark in Emily's left eye, very unique and individual only to her. The next page listed the chapters: the truth about love, the truth about heartbreak, the truth about healing, the truth about forgiveness, the truth about change, the truth about grief, and the truth about happiness. Incredibly appropriate to my new reality. Wow. Wow, I thought, someone really picked the perfect book. It came from Amazon, but unfortunately there was no note. It was the following week when I was ordering some things on Amazon for Emily's memorial that I saw that Emily had ordered that book for me. And it was delivered to my doorstep the day she died. Packing up Emily's schoolroom in March was quite difficult. I decided to just put everything in suitcases as quickly as possible, and I'd go through her belongings at home when the time was right. I managed to unpack her clothing, but nothing else. My 60th birthday and Mother's Day weekend were on the same day this year, or same weekend. And I'm thinking, oh, shit. I thought to myself, like, how fun is this going to be? I decided that wearing a piece of Emily's jewelry would make a difficult weekend a bit more tolerable. While looking through her jewelry box that I hadn't unpacked from Switzerland, I came across these two necklaces that were wrapped, one for my birthday and one for Mother's Day. Once again, thank you, Emily. I believe with all my heart that Emily and I can and will find a way to live with our new relationship, and that we will make it enough. Our new journey has already started, and it's so incredibly beautiful. Emily had more lotions and body sprays than any one person could ever use in a lifetime. I used to get annoyed with all her products, and now I'm blessed that I can smell like her every day for the rest of my life. Another gift. So if you see me at City Market in February and notice that I smell like mango avocado, just smile and go with it, please. I'm so grateful and blessed for all the gifts that I've been given. The gift of Emily, the gift that her life lasted 18 years, 207 days, and not a day less. The gift of the connection we had, the gift of the new relationship that we are starting, the gift of her impact on others, the gift of her finding true happiness in the most beautiful place with the most beautiful people, doing what she loved, the gift of the natural peace and surrender surrounding her death, the gift of all the amazing family, friends, and community, and soon the gift of her legacy, Emily's hut. My dream for Emily was to live an extraordinary life, filled with incredible experiences and adventures. How lucky she was to be in control of her life, living fearlessly, becoming the best version of herself possible, being passionate about so many things, all on her own terms. Not many people ever achieve that. I've learned a lot in the past few months, and I know that Reg and I will find a way to move forward with grace and peace. Life is short, and it doesn't always seem fair. Live as if today is your last day. Emily Grace Franciose certainly did. Thank you.
Feel like a fool when your happy snappy fingers belong to your favorite song. You look so cool when you do that. Feels so good that you can't do no wrong. We hate the law. We hate those rules they made for us. Bent them all. 'Cause breaking rules is still so cool to us. Spent last fall picking apples off of the tree and into the bar. Reminded me of picking apples you fell out of the tree and into my arms. We hate the law. We hate those rules they made for us. Bent them all. 'Cause breaking rules is still so cool to us. Christmas. Oh, I should have kissed you. And I was so afraid for the longest time, baby, that I missed you. We hate the law. We hate those rules they made for us. Bent them all. 'Cause breaking rules is still so cool to us. And I found out yesterday